And when people were feeling uncomfortable, I would call it out right away. Hey, I saw you look down. I get it. This is uncomfortable. Share it with me. Tell me what's making you uncomfortable.
Hello, fellow trailblazers, light keepers, and leaders. This is Michele Phillips with another episode of Write Your Outcome. And today I have someone with me that I'm so excited to talk about because sometimes I live in the world of metaphysics a lot, and he lives in the world of science and research. So we're going to put some of my ideas to the test. Welcome, Jake, to the show.
Oh, Michele, thanks for having me. This is quite an honor.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So everyone knows how I start my show is I'm going to read some things about Jake because I like to do justice to my guests, and then we'll dive into some juicy conversation. So Jake Stahl is not your average consultant. He's a former top-tier sales trainer turned psychological strategist, the inventor of Neurostrategy, and the visionary founder and CEO of Orchestraight, a first of its kind intelligence platform that rewires how companies train, sell, and scale. Jake doesn't just teach transformation, he engineers it. When Jake speaks, people don't just nod, they shift. His sessions are described as part masterclass, part awakening. I love it. When he's not, speaking, he's always working with sales teams, consulting with C-suite disruptors, and breaking down complex neuroscientists into street level strategies. Jake's one goal is to change how people think, act, and win. Woo! I love it all.
I wish I would have written that. That was good.
I love it all. I love it all. Change how we think, act, and win. So I'm all about the brain and neuroscience, but I have this big part of my life in metaphysics, and sometimes I don't need the research. But tell me when you started, if you're a sales trainer turned psychological strategist, and when you started using the brain, tell me what was the catalyst when you started to write your new outcome for this?
Yeah, so I did a lot of sales training all over the globe. I've done it across numerous countries in 47 states. And the thing I was amazed about, Michele, was we're always told from the time we're kids, we're special, we're different, we're unique. And the thing I found after training 10,000 people is we're really not. we all think pretty much the same. We all react pretty much the same. And I thought, there's got to be a set of guidelines we all kind of follow or reactions that we all kind of have. And so I started studying psychology and social psychology, and I got master certified in neurolinguistic programming. And turns out I was right. We have ways we react that are remarkably consistent across everybody. So I thought, well, what if I could start to tap into those things? And Michele, none of this is unique. Thousands of people have done this before me. But I use it in a way to teach people presence, how they show up, how to re-engineer those first moments of a meeting so that the outcome is probably going to be much better than it may have been had you not prepared.
I love it. So for those listening that don't even know what NLP is, can you just define NLP for us?
Yeah, so neurolinguistic programming, most people know Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins uses this quite a bit. So neurolinguistic programming is basically saying that the way we process information and the way we talk and think largely determines how we will process currently and in the future. So if we can change some of those things and break them down, we can alter the way we process what's happening to us now and visualizing what happens in the future. And that's a super simplified breakdown, but that's the essence of it.
Well, so we're almost we're reprogramming our neurons to fire differently.
Correct.
So we act differently.
Yeah.
So I love what you said in the beginning. You said, show up in a room different.
Right.
I work with clients all over the world also. And sometimes I work with clients where English isn't their first language.
Yeah, for sure.
So they almost have a limited belief that their cultural barrier is preventing them from communicating or showing up confident when most of the time it's their own limiting belief that's doing this. So if I use that as an example, how would you help someone like that?
Well, I think part of it is just understanding where they're coming from. I'm a firm believer that any doubts we have now were not recent doubts. These were set in stone eons ago. And you're just repeating now today. So often the way we react now is not a reaction to what we're seeing or doing. It's a reaction to old programming. There's old messages coming up saying, Jake, you can't do this. Jake, this isn't the right time, or you're too old. So one of the things I do is I understand my clients' limiting beliefs. And then maybe this is the metaphysical piece, but I talk to my clients about how old are you when you're worrying about this? When did this actually crop up and become the first concern? And we start to deal with that a little bit, because how we process now is an acute reflection of how we processed earlier. And our brain, Michele, wants to simplify. We want to create shortcuts. We want to have conditioning because it makes things easier. And so part of that conditioning is I reacted it to this way before and it worked out pretty good. So I'm just going to react to it that way again. And I don't see a need to change. So working with clients is understanding them to start.
Yeah. So you said something so key. I want to write it down, but I didn't write it down. You said the doubts aren't new. No. The doubts are ingrained behaviors that came from, our past.
Yes.
So once you see them, are you then able to program them? What comes next? Once I see, okay, this is something that started when I was 10 and now I'm, in my 50s and it doesn't serve me anymore.
Yeah. And Michele, you said a really key thing there. You said, when I see them. And I think you and I have talked about this before, is naming it is part of taming it, right? And I think that's a Michele Phillips quote, if I'm not mistaken. So when we name it, when we can see it and recognize it, we can then see what comes after. So let's say that my daughter comes home and she's worried about something. So when I see she's worried, I go back to the last time she was worried. I think, oh my God, she was in a car accident. So were you in a car accident? But part of reconditioning yourself is just understanding what triggers that.
Yeah.
And then how can we break that conditioning? How can we pattern interrupt it and create something new? And oftentimes, Michele, it's just a matter of recognizing it 4 or 5 times and changing the way you react to it before it becomes a habit. Sounds difficult, but when I work with my clients, most of them say, I can't believe how easy this was.
I love it. I read I think it was an Eckhart Tolle book, where he said, every time you see it, you weaken it. Yeah. So that kind of mantra got me over things like, okay, I'm in this bad pattern again. I'm fearful, I'm not going to have the money to pay the bills, or the guy's not going to say yes to the date, or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And then you recognize the pattern, and then I'm like, oh, but the fact that I'm seeing it means it's losing its grip on me.
Right.
So what's the next step after that? You use the word the inventor of neurostrategy. So what's neurostrategy?
So that's a coin that I trademarked. That's a trademark. That's a term I coined and trademarked. Wow. First day with the new lips.
I was following every word.
So I coined and I trademarked. And basically what it is to me is the combination of behavioral psychology, social psychology, and NLP. So how do we react normally, the way our brain reacts? How do we react based on the way I'm programmed, which is social psychology? And then NLP is how do we rectify things that we're having issues with? So I coined that because I think the 3 of them together make for a very potent communication method and a way of dealing with the issues that you're talking about. And to answer your question, Michele, the next step after that is having the strength to do a pattern interrupt. So let's say I had an argument with my wife. Part of it is recognizing what's triggering my anger. And then the second part, and this requires a strength, is what can I do to do a pattern interrupt? And you'll hear a lot of speakers say, clap your hands, shake your head real hard, get up and walk out of the room. Anything to keep you from having that reaction that has always been conditioned. And once you do that several times, to what you said, Michele, it starts to weaken. And you recognize and go, oh my God, there it is. I got to walk out of the room. Or I got to clap my hands, or I got to shake my head. Just anything to say, I'm not going to do what I did before.
Yeah. I love what you're saying. So clapping your hands, shaking your head. I had a guest recently said, like, put lotion on your hands, like anything that it almost takes you out of the brain and like back to the body is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
And I do that 4 or 5 times. And then, I mean, am I golden or does it rear its head again? Like what happens,
It
2 months
takes
from
time.
now?
It takes time. And it also depends on what it is, Michele. If I've been doing it for 50 years, clapping my hands 5 times isn't going to reprogram my entire
Right.
being, but it does get easier over time.
Okay.
So a lot of times it's just making it a habit to get it done. And I've had to do this myself. You go through these issues and you think, oh my God, I overreacted to that again.
Yes.
And the difficult part, Michele, is if you don't do this, then you start to beat yourself up and that kind of spirals it backwards.
Yeah, you almost asked my next question. My next question I was going to ask you, but then I'm going to tie it with a thought. I was having my dad passed away almost, it's two
Oh,
years
I'm
in
sorry.
November, and I love him. We had this love relationship, but we also like didn't agree on things. And we had this fight like on his 80th birthday. And he was like, I'm 80 years old. And why am I still like repeating this pattern, right? At 80 that
Yeah.
I know I see it. It's ugly. I don't want to be this. So I feel like that's why I do this work, because I want to be better. So my question to you is, what happened in your life? Was there a defining moment, or was it just you doing all these different sales training classes that you saw you had a better way to help people? What got you inspired to actually create this new technology and bring it out to the world?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. Part of it was training so many people and just seeing the same patterns come up over and over and over again. And a key one, Michele, is saying, hi, how are you? Nobody ever expects a response. Nobody even wants a response,
What
right? It's
do you
just,
mean they don't want a response?
well, if you walk by somebody
It's
on the
so rote.
street,
It's just rote. It's
exactly.
yeah.
Somebody asked you that on the street. If you stopped them and said, well, I just had this recent surgery and frankly, things aren't
Right.
going great at home, it's a rote response to what you said,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
So that always got me as well is how can we break out of that and how does that condition us to respond? But to answer your question, I became addicted to opioids about 12 years ago. And for about 2 years, things in my life were just out of control. Lost my marriage, lost my house, the whole nine
Mm,
yards. And what happened,
I'm
Michele, was when I
sorry.
went through rehab and I came back out of this, nobody treated me the same way. And no matter how hard I tried to get people to level set with me again, many people didn't.
They saw you as the addict.
Yeah, correct. So what was not congruent for me was that I was looking at movie stars that would be on the cover of Time magazine. It's like so and so was an addict and they're in rehab, and everybody's going, oh my God, I feel so sorry for them.
Yeah.
But when they saw me, they're like, oh, bad, bad, you should know better.
Mm.
So that started to really kind of change the way I thought about things. So I thought, what if I change the way I show up? What if I change the way I listen and the way I've conditioned people to respond? So I'm happy to say I've been clean for 13 years.
Ah, God
And
bless.
it's really led to the development of the product that I do and the business that I have. And it's been amazing. Michele, I wouldn't trade that time for anything in the world.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
really
there's this
wouldn't.
saying, life doesn't give us what we but it gives us what our spirit needs.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And I did need that very, very badly because my life, I am blessed. I've remarried. My kids are amazing. I've got a great business. So it all happened for a reason.
so I love that. Oh my God, so much to unpack there. And it's like that. You remind me of that saying, like, people treat you the way you let them treat you. So you said, I want to be treated differently. So in order for me to be treated differently, it's not like I have to pass out flyers to the people in my life and tell them what to do. I need to
Yeah,
show up differently. So
correct.
talk about that. So how do you show up? How do you get someone to change how they show up? How do you get someone to even make that connection? Because most people think it's not me, it's you, right? It's the other people.
Yeah. And Michele, one of the first things I started doing was looking at signals. And I teach an approach now called Strata, which is coming out in a book at the end of November.
Okay,
But one of the
exciting.
first things I teach people is to read signals. So I'll give you a great example. I was on the phone with somebody the other day or on Zoom, and this woman had a beautiful set of glasses and earrings that matched. And I'm like, that is so cool. So I said, your glasses and earrings are really neat. Well, immediately she started fidgeting with her wedding ring, taking it off, putting it back on, twirling it. And I think most people would ignore that and keep going.
Hmm.
But one of the things I teach in the book is read that signal and just determine what could be taking place and then do what you can to address the signal. So what I did was I re-anchored her to what she had done for me prior to the call and applauded her for doing all the research on my company that she did. And we re-anchored her. But this was learned by when I talked to people about my addiction. If they looked away or put their head down, instead of ignoring it, I would say, it looks like I triggered something. What are you thinking? Let's talk it through. And what I found was the more you acknowledge those signals, the more open people become. Right? So that was kind of the first step. What am I signaling and what am I triggering in that other person? And then how do I need to react to that?
You're really paying attention, and most people aren't paying attention.
Correct.
You know, I saw Maya Angelou, oh my God, years ago on Oprah back in the day. And I remember her saying, when I walk in the room, do your eyes light up? Do you hear me? Do you see me? Like, does what I say matter? And I thought, oh my God, we all want that.
Of course.
But most of us don't get that. Most of us are trying to be seen versus seeing other people.
Yes.
So what I hear you saying is a little of both, right? Which is very emotionally intelligent, right? It's like, I'm sharing with you, but I'm also picking up on what you're saying and doing.
Yeah.
And then I'm expanding that. So I'm still curious. With the ring, the earrings, the glasses, was there anything to that? Did you get deeper with her on that?
Well, when she started doing that, the thing that immediately hit me was she's either reminding herself that she's married or she's telling me she's married subconsciously. So to me, I triggered something unintentionally in the compliment. And it wasn't meant to be anything but, hey, your glasses and earrings are cool. Right. So when I reframed everything and I put it back in the context of our business conversation, it went great.
Calm down.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm tracking with you.
But most people, I think, would tend to ignore that. They wouldn't notice it, and that would become a detractor from the entire conversation.
Yeah. Hello, I am interrupting this podcast to give a plug for my brand new book, Energize Your Happiness. I am so proud of this book, and I can't wait for you to read it or listen to it because it will be on audio as well. And I just want you to know you don't have to push so hard. You don't have to be so stressed. You have all this beautiful energy inside you. And when you learn to manage the energy, when you learn to focus your energy, everything starts to fall into place. So energize your happiness, tap into your personal energy, and shape your destiny comes directly from my heart to your heart. It's available on lulu.com. It's available on amazon.com. And if you'd like a personally signed copy, go to energizeyourhappiness.com and I will personally sign and autograph a copy and ship it out to you. So Energize Your Happiness is available right now. It makes a great gift for the holidays. And if you're hearing this after the holidays, it makes a great gift for Valentine's Day. New Year's, you name it, it makes a great gift. Make it a great day. Back to the podcast. If you and I are talking and all of a sudden I feel you check out. It's almost like when you're on the phone with someone and all of a sudden you know they're not listening.
Correct.
And you have to call the spade a spade. Like you're not there anymore. Or I know you're doing something else. But doing it, most people don't do it in live interaction. Sometimes we just kind of keep rolling with our communication versus talking. So you become recovered. Yep. You doing the sales training, you're seeing the differences, and now you're starting to notice subtle clues, signs, you said, in other people. Yep. So how is this changing how you're showing up?
Well, a part of it is just understanding how people react when you talk about your addiction or your recovery. Some people get uncomfortable, and I can understand that. I get it. And some people deal with it really well. But what NLP teaches you is that eye directions, up and to left, up and to the right, side to side, down, start to teach you about what these people may be thinking.
So give us some, I don't know. I mean, I know NLP, but I don't know eye directions. So give us some, teach us.
So if I'm looking at you and I look up and to the left, to you, I'm looking up into your right-hand side. right?
Right.
That means I'm trying to remember a memory that I actually had.
Okay.
If I look up to the other way, it means I'm trying to picture something I've never seen before. So, Michele, if I say to you, picture a cow in a field,
Right.
you're going to look up in a direction that allows you to recall that cow in the field. But if I say,
Right.
Michele,
Oh, I
recall a
see.
cow you saw standing on one leg, your eyes are
Okay.
going to go the other way because you're going to be like, geez, I've never seen that
Oh, now
before.
I
What
got
does
to pay
that look
attention
like?
to this. I love it.
Right. And the same thing side to side. So if you look at your ears,
Mm-hmm.
one side is something you're recalling that you heard before. And if I say to you, Michele, tell me what it sounds like for a bell to ring backwards, your
Yeah.
eyes are going to go the other way because it's like, I've never heard that before. So you're looking over.
I
And
love this. I never heard this before.
yeah, and any look down to the right or left is usually kinesthetic. It's something I felt before or I'm listening to internal monologue. Now, what NLP will teach you is that this is true about 90% of the time. So
Right.
there's 10% of the population where this may not happen or it's reversed, the sides they look at. But most of the time, that gives you an indication of how they're trying to access memory or how they're thinking about things or if they're having an internal monologue. So I became conscious of all of this. And when people were feeling uncomfortable, I would call it out right away. Hey, I saw you look down. I get it. This is uncomfortable. Share it with me. Tell me what's making you uncomfortable.
Mm.
And it takes guts on both sides because it was hard for me to start doing it. And sometimes it's harder for people to really share what they're feeling. But I found that if I can be conscious of my signal and see what I trigger in people, that will allow me to start to reframe what they're thinking. And that's literally the first three letters of strata, which is signal, trigger, and reframe.
And you're really, I feel like you're creating a bridge for communication to actually take place because
Correct.
if not, it'll just, it stops.
Yes.
So STA. So, okay, what are the next
STR.
ones?
So we have signal,
STR, sorry.
signal, trigger, and reframe.
Okay.
And that's what I started doing with people when I started talking about coming out and my rehab. And what I found, Michele, was it was a miracle. I started to change people and people started to listen to me again. And people that had started to push me out had started to bring me back. And I'm not saying this happened overnight, but I think this had a lot to do with it. And the next letter in strata is A for anchor. And so it's like, what can I anchor now to make sure that you always feel this way?
That's a step I always forget. Anchor. Okay, I like it. Okay.
An anchor is so important because you can anchor good or bad things. And, when I first became addicted, I anchored a lot of bad things with a lot of people. And so I had to go undo those and change them.
And I remember being with Tony Robbins because I did walk on hot coals with him back
Oh, cool.
many years ago. But I remember him like having us make a fist, like to anchor. Like, what are some techniques to anchor?
Well, when you have a strong emotion, you can create your own anchor. And that's the beauty of it. So if I'm feeling really good about doing something and I'm kind of on a natural high, I rub my thumb and my forefinger together on my right hand.
Okay.
So that anchors it. So if I'm feeling lousy on any given day and I trigger my anchor like that, if I've anchored it strong enough, I'll go right back into that feeling good frame of mind. So people do it as a pinch. I know somebody that taps their wrist, to bring that anchor up. But it takes a little bit to anchor something. But once you do, like Tony's clenching the fist, once you do, it's amazing how long it stays with you.
And it's the missing piece for me. It's so funny because, I've done so many different things over the years and you take pieces from everything. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't do that anymore. I don't anchor. So I will be anchoring after this podcast. Thank you.
Sure. And it can even be a word. I have friends of mine that use a word. It's like, let's go, or damn it, something to just get them to anchor in the moment. Yeah.
So signal, trigger, what's the R again? Reframe. And then anchor.
Then you have anchor. And then the T is transfer. So how do I transfer what I have so that you pick it up and make it part of your own?
So explain what you mean. I'm not sure I'm following.
Sure. So let's say that I have just anchored a certain price. So I'm working with a client. So I've anchored a price with them. And then I say to them, so how is this going to fit into your budget? And they're like, well, I could start to rework this and that. So I want to get it so that what I just anchored becomes a part of their thought process. And
Okay.
even maybe they feel like it's their idea.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
I'm almost
So
visualizing the words going back and forth between the two people communicating. Okay. Like in visual.
yeah. So if I create an anchor, but I don't have them make it part of their idea, or I don't have them assimilate it into what they're thinking, the communication's just not going to stick. So that transfer is a very important part. And then the A at the end is action. So what action are they going to take after the transfer?
Okay. So signal, trigger, reframe, anchor, transfer, action.
Right. And now the beautiful thing about this, Michele, is it sounds complicated, but this often happens in seconds.
Yeah. So I want to bring you, because I know you have a set amount of time today and I don't want to lose ourselves. This is so many good little golden nuggets here already about how our brain works and how we can reprogram, and then doubts are not new. That's old. I love that. I'm going to be using that.
Old programming.
But I want to talk about your book. So this led you to read the book, led you to write the book, Own the Room, How to Communicate to be Seen, Heard, and Respected.
Yeah.
So tell us the journey of the book, or what, the synopsis of the book, and what people would learn from it.
Yeah. And the journey for the book started with my addiction. It was, how was I going to get back into the rooms I used to be in? And so I started to develop Strata, and it happened by accident. And I started to develop Strata, and I thought, this really applies to business. People who are ghosted, people who give the best presentation of their lives and there's no commitment. A conversation you have with your child and they just completely snub you or they don't remember. It applies to all areas. So I wrote the book to help anybody who's ever felt invisible, somebody who's felt forgettable, somebody who felt like they're just not being seen. I wrote it for those people because I've been all of them. I've been ghosted. I've been turned down. I lost a marriage. I've lost deals.
Check. I think everybody listening is good. Could probably check all the boxes.
Yeah. So I wrote it for all those people, and it's designed to get them not only to notice other people more, but how to get what they're thinking and what the other person's thinking a little bit more jived. The comparison I always use is, I think people have two profiles. They have the one whose hair they comb and they put the glasses on it and dress it up nice. But then there's their other profile, the one that makes the decisions, that gets scared, that gets happy, that has the uncertainties. And in that, most people have a caption over their head of exactly what they're thinking. But we never pay attention to that. We speak to the lie. We speak to the performer. So this book is designed to help you read that other person's caption and communicate at a deeper level, whether it's in a business deal or around the dining room table.
I love that, because I do think it's lost so much because we're moving so fast. And I often use the definition of the word communication comes from the Latin communicare, which means to connect. So true communication is a heart to heart. So we're not having heart to hearts. Everyone's just talking at each other.
Correct.
Versus connecting. And I love that you're giving these tools to people. And, you were saying, well, these things happen to you. All those things happen to me too. And I could, I'm sure anybody listening, we've all been rejected, been ghosted, been disappointed, been not respected.
Yeah.
And I feel like, is it like a handbook to help people kind of get up, dust yourself off, but not even just own your own respect. But I feel like this book is going to help you. The more you tap into others, the more you see them, the more they see you. It's a reciprocal.
Yeah. And I think the weirdest thing is, the more we let other people talk, the more we communicate well. I really do.
One more time, because that's so perfect. Yes.
The joke I always have with my clients is, how little can you talk and still make a first impression? And when you can master that, you've really mastered communication.
That's wonderful.
So
when is your book going to be available? Where can people find it?
it'll be at the end of November. It'll be on Amazon to start, and then it will be available in bookstores. And just so you know, it's not going to be just a book that says, here, go do this. It's going to have worksheets in it. It's going to have real life scenarios. It's going to have everything from situations you may face in business to with your kids to even visiting the doctor and how to communicate with people better.
Oh, let's talk about the doctor real quick. We have like 2 minutes left before I know you have to go. But that's a good one. I feel like when sometimes the doctor's office these days they're just, they're cattle calling you in, the next patient, next patient, next patient. So let's give a couple tips for people when they go to the doctor. I love that scenario.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is just to be prepared. We oftentimes put doctors on this really huge pedestal because they have all this knowledge and it's great. They deserve to be where they are. They've acquired the knowledge, but that doesn't make you any less knowledgeable. So when you do your research, it's that time when you're with the doctor to go in and ask those questions. And the doctor will oftentimes determine how long they're going to be in there. It's like, are you good? Okay, I'm going to write this and go. But it's incumbent upon us to say, listen, I'm not good. I want to know why this script is being written. Please help me understand how it's helping me. And it's important to just have that back and forth. But this is a classic case of letting the doctor's signals of being superior affect you and how you perceive yourself. And we just need to start to shift that. And Strata will show you how to do that.
I love it because and you have to be your own advocate. My mother's on these 2 medications that are the same. So I said, ask your doctor why you're on the same twice too. So she asked the doctor and I said, what did he say? Because you need them. I'm like, that's not even an answer. But my mother is a different generation. So she takes his answer and says, because he says I need them. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But oh my gosh, Jake, where can people find you? What's your where do you want people to find you? Are you on Instagram, LinkedIn?
Yeah, please look for me on LinkedIn. I'm Jake Stahl. I'm the one that looks like me. If you can't see me right now because you're just listening, I'm the CEO of Orchestraight, so you can gladly go there. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm Jake the Mind Mechanic. So you can gladly follow me there on Instagram.
And do you want to say something about Orchestraight before we go?
Yeah, so Orchestraight is a platform I developed because I do coach people individually. And I have a lot of corporate clients as well, but people wanted ways to get in touch with me or be able to use my teaching. So I developed a product called Orchestraight that is a SaaS product that basically think and talks like me, and it'll give you the same advice I would.
That's fast. So it's an AI coach, but it's you.
Yep. 100%.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I need one of those. How do I get one of those?
There you go. Free 7-day trial. You can go right to the Orchestraight website.
Okay, free 7-day trial. You heard it here. What's the website?
It's orchestraight.com. And that's Orchestraight is spelled not Strate. It's Orchestraight with Straight. So Orchestraight is the straightest line to success.
Okay, so you have a free 7-day trial of Orchestraight. Yep. All the stuff will be in the show notes. He's got a book coming out at the end of November, Own the Room, How to Communicate to be Seen, Heard, and Respected. He is the inventor of Neurostrategy, and you are just a delight to talk to. So thank you, Michele, so much for being here on Write Your Outcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's it, everyone, for this episode of Write Your Outcome. Make sure you are writing your own outcome and that you're making it a great day. Thanks. That's a wrap for today's episode of Write Your Outcome with me, Michele Phillips. If something sparked in you and you enjoyed this podcast, please don't forget to rate, review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Let's keep these ripples going and make it a great